Hello friends, I am Mrs. Pushpalata Rahul Shinde, lecturer of English from Aryan College of Arts, Commerce and Science, Camp, Pune. Today we are going to discuss on the lesson number 1.2, The Cock and the Anthem, which is written by O. Henry. In this video, we are going to discuss about the author O. Henry. Actually, the name of the author is William Sidney Porter and the nickname of the author is O. Henry. So, William Sidney Porter is a 19th century author of his O.P. Henry is better known by his nickname. His writing style consists mainly of short stories. O. Henry's short stories are known for their ingenuity as well as unexpected ending. Porter was born in 1862 in North Carolina as per the Wikipedia. His date of birth is 11 September 1862. He born on Greensboro, North Carolina in United States. He died on 5th June 1910 and his place of death is New York and his full name is William Sidney Porter. So we'll see how was his lifestyle. First we'll discuss about his early life. William Sidney Porter was born on September 11, 1862 in Greensboro, North Carolina. He changed the spelling of his middle name to Sidney in 1898. His parents were Dr. Algernon Sidney Porter 1825 to 1888, a physician, and Mary Jane Virginia Swan Porter 1833 to 1865. William's parents had married on April 20, 1858. When William was 3, his mother died after giving birth to her third child, and he and his father moved into the home of his paternal grandmother. As a child, Porter was always reading everything from classics to dime novels. His favorite works were Lane's translation of 1001 Nights and Burton's Anatomy of Melancholy. Porter graduated from his aunt Evelina Maria Porter's elementary school in 1876. He then enrolled at the Lindsay Street High School. His aunt continued to tutor him until he was 15. In 1879, he started working in his uncle's drugstore in Greenboro, and on August 30, 1881, at the age of 19, Porter was licensed as a pharmacist. At the drugstore, he also showed his natural artistic talents by sketching the town folk. Porter as a young man in Austin. Porter traveled along with Dr. James K. Hall to Texas in March 1882, hoping that a change of air would help alleviate a persistent cough he had developed. He took up residence on the sheep ranch of Richard Hall, James Hall's son, in La Salle Country and helped out as a shepherd, ranch hand, cook, and a babysitter. While on the ranch, he learned bits of Spanish and German from the mix of immigrant ranch hands. He also spent time reading classic literature. Porter's health did improve. He traveled with Richard to Austin, Texas in 1884, where he decided to remain and was welcomed into the home of Richard's friends. Joseph Harrell and his wife Porter resided with the Harrells for 3 years. He went to work briefly for the Morrell Brothers Drug Company as a pharmacist. Porter then moved on to work for the Herald Cigar Store located in the Drexel Hotel. He also began writing as a sideline and wrote many of his early stories in the Herald House. As a young bachelor, Potter led an active social life in Austin. He was known for his wit, storytelling, storytelling and musical talents. He played both the guitar and mandolin. He sang in the choir at Stuart David's Episcopal Church and became a member of the Hill City Quartet, a group of young men who sang at gatherings and serenaded young women of the town. The Porter family, early 1890s, Athol, daughter Margaret, William Porter, met and began courting Athol Estate, 17 years old and from a wealthy family. Believe Porter met Athol at the laying of the cornerstone of the Texas state capitol in 1885. Her mother objected to the match because Athol was ill, suffering from tuberculosis. On July 1st, 1887, Porter eloped with Athol and they were married in the parlor of the Reverend R.K. Moore, pastor of the Central Presbyterian Church, where the estate's family attended their marriage. The couple continued to participate in musical and theatre groups, and the Athol encouraged her husband to pursue his writing. Athol gave birth to a son in 1888 who died hours after birth, and then daughter Margaret Worth Porter in September 1889. Potter's friend Richard Hall became Texas Land Commissioner and offered Potter a job. Potter started as a draftsman at the Texas General Land Office on January 12, 1887, at the salary of $100 a month, drawing maps from survey and field notes. The salary was enough to support his family, but he continued his contributions to magazines and newspapers. In the JLO building, he began developing characters and the plots for such stories as Georgia Rolling and Buried Treasure. The castle like building he worked in was even woven into some of his tales, such as Begza script number 2692 in 1894. His job at the GLO was political appointment by Hall. Hall ran for governor in the election of 1890 but lost. Porter resigned on January 21 in 1891, the day after the new governor Jim Hoga was sworn in. Now Porter as a clerk at the First National Park in Austin in 1892. The same year, Porter began working at the First National Bank of Austin as a teller and bookkeeper at the same salary he had made at the GLO. The bank was operated informally, was apparently careless in keeping his books, and may have embezzled funds. In 1894, he was accused by the bank of embezzlement and lost his job but was not indicated at the time. He then worked full time on his humorous weekly called The Rolling Stone, which he started while working at the bank. The Rolling Stone featured satire on life, people, and politics and included Porter's short stories and sketches. Although eventually reaching a top circulation of 1,500, the Rolling Stone fell in April 1895 because the paper never provided an adequate income. However, his writing and drawings had caught the attention of the editor at the Houston Post. Porter and his family moved to Houston in 1895, where he started writing for the Post. His salary was only $25 a month, but it rose steadily as his popularity increased. Porter gathered ideas for his column by loitering in hotel lobbies and observing and talking to people there. This was a technique he used throughout his writing career. While he was in Houston, federal auditors audited in First National Bank of Austin and found the embezzlement shortage that led to his firing. A federal indictment followed and he was arrested on the charges of embezzlement. And in this year, we are going to study one of his short stories, The Cop and the Anthem. The Cop and the Anthem about a New York City hobo named Soapy who sets out to get arrested so that he can be a guest of the city jail instead of sleeping out in the cold winter. Despite efforts at petty theft, vandalism, disorderly conduct, and flirting with a young prostitute, Sophie fails to draw the attention of the police. Disconsolate, he pauses in front of the church where an organ anthem inspires him to clean up his life. Ironically, ironically, he is charged for loitering and sentenced to 3 months in prison. So, the life of the O. Henry has been reflected in the story that he has to face a lot. Means he want the hero of the short story wants to go in the jail and continue his life, but he is not able to join the jail, though he is committing some little crimes. So, friends, in the lesson, we'll discuss and enjoy the story The Cop and the Anthem by O. Henry. Thank you very much.